Hello, hello, my beautiful souls. Welcome to the intuitive card reading for the week of May 4th through May 10th. You guys know what to do. Please like this video. Please subscribe to this channel. Please share this video with anybody that needs to hear the energies and the influences of the week. I'm using the same 3 decks you guys are familiar with, all shuffled in the order that feels intuitively aligned for this reading. I'm very excited to see what's going on this week, especially since last week was a little of a bumpy ride, and so was the monthly. It was a little bit of a bump, you guys know I'm straightforward with you, so, and I'll be straightforward again. So let's see what this week has in store for us. All right, what do we need? We need serendipity. Oh yes, I always need serendipity. All right, so serendipitous is kind of like the fates meets flow energies. So it's basically saying if things are meant to be, they are meant to be. Look out for synchronicities. Look out for things kind of working themselves out. But it's under need. So basically it's saying that we need this. Okay, so it's saying that we need this. So it might not necessarily show up this way, but we could feel like we need to be more in flow. We need things to be more serendipitous, more synchronistic in our lives. So this could mean, I'm curious to see what the action needed card is, but this could be like, we really need things to go a lot smoother for us. We really need more flow. You know how you get more flow, guys? You stop forcing things and you start making one intuitive decision after the other, okay? If something feels in alignment, go in that direction, okay? So this is kind of previewing the reading a little bit. I have a feeling we might get listen to our intuition card, okay, somewhere in this reading possibly. I think we got it for the monthly, but yeah, definitely something that we need to be doing, and we just feel like we need this type of flow in our lives, right? And I always feel that way, but it doesn't always happen because life happens. But we can get into it, right? We can get more into alignment. Let's see what action needed says. Okay, so it says Samaritan, it's in the shadow, exacting appreciation and recognition for the help that you offer. Okay, so this is kind of like, some of these archetype cards are kind of hard to explain depending on where they land here in the reading. So, all right, so basically it's saying that we are looking for praise and appreciation for the things that we do. And again, the shadow does not equal like negative, right? It's just basically, this is what our more so what our ego wants. And again, ego is not bad. Okay, so basically it's saying that we would like appreciation, recognition for the help that we offer, for the things that we do. And so basically it's saying that we need to take action on that. Okay, so this is kind of a weird thing, but this is what I'm getting. Some of us may actually, putting 2 and 2 together, this might be you asking for praise. This could be like you asking maybe for a reward or award of some kind for the things that you do, or acknowledgement at the very least of the things that you've been doing or the things that you do. And I feel like it definitely comes to a head this week, but it's saying action needed. So it kind of feels not like icky, but like it kind of feels like, why do I have to ask for the acknowledgement? Like that's like the feeling, like we're kind of like annoyed by it. Like, why do we have to ask for somebody to acknowledge the work that I'm doing, or ask somebody to appreciate me? But that's what I'm getting, guys, from action needed, basically. So maybe this has something to do with, asking from your spouse or, your significant other, or for at your job possibly, or you've been helping out a lot around the house with a family member, and so you would like to hear their appreciation for that kind of thing. So I definitely feel like Spirit is showing me like a boiling pot. So it feels like something is it's ready to boil, right? Like it's ready to go, like it's kind of like the pot is boiling, like the time is now. At least that's how I'm interpreting it. So yeah, we might have to do that, but I think it'll make us feel better, feel more appreciated, or at least feel like the efforts that we've been putting in with something is being at least appreciated and acknowledged, even if we have to ask for it ourselves. So that's an interesting one, kind of random. I would love to hear down below how that might resonate with you. Nothing is clicking for me quite yet, but yeah, that's an interesting energy coming through there. All right, issue with regeneration. Oh no, I like this card, but I don't love it here in this slot. Okay, so we're having issue regenerating something. Regeneration is always about building something back the same or even better. So we're having issues doing that. I always give, maybe not always, but usually I give the example of like if your house is burned down and you're trying to build a new house, you have to start building the foundation, making the plans, then building the foundation, etc. To, you know, and maybe you can build your house back with, you know, more bathrooms than you had originally or whatever. You know, make it, you know, you do those renovations you kind of always wanted to do. But we're having issues doing that. So maybe there's some kind of issue where you need zoning permits, or you can't find the right plumber, or you can't find the right contractors, or like whatever it actually is. So there's just some issues trying to regenerate ourselves, but it's, to me, you know, the butterfly is still on the card. It's still a card of, you know, blossoming, blooming, you know, after the cocoon, after a time of like being in the dark or not being able to do anything. You don't do anything in the cocoon. Well, not true. It's not like you don't do anything in the cocoon, but you don't necessarily become the butterfly, you know, in the cocoon, right? That's the stage before. So there is a butterfly here. So it's telling me like, you're ready. Just we're coming, you know, there's some like issues that we're having, and that's okay, you know, because I feel like it's minor. All right, challenge. This is always the rough spot in the reading up here. Truth be told. Okay, so we're having a challenging time telling the truth. We have a challenging time. This could also be like authenticity can come through with this card. So it's a challenge to be authentic. Maybe you're in a situation where you can't be yourself in front of people. Maybe you're like traveling for work, and this particular group, in, you know, your coworkers, you feel like you can't be yourself around, so you feel like very boxed in. You feel, you know, like a shell of yourself, or whatever it actually is. So that could be it. So that's very challenging. It's always challenging when you have to mix, you know, your professional life and your personal life. I think in general it's kind of challenging, but and this could just be like you're having a hard time either telling the truth or handling a truth. This could be, so somebody could tell you something this week that is just very hard to hear and is extremely challenging. That could absolutely be it. Or you have to tell somebody something, and that could be very challenging. So it could go both ways on that one. What do we have to change, guys? Thief in the shadow, stealing money, creative ideas, affection, or other powers you think you lack. Okay, so that's changing. All right, so that's good. I like this in the shadow here, because it's basically saying like, we feel like we don't have to take from others. We feel like we don't have to piggyback on other people's ideas. We feel like we don't have to copy other people's work. We feel like we don't have to plagiarize. It doesn't necessarily have to be in the way I'm thinking of it as like a creative thing, but it could be something else. Like, I mean, it could be literal, where we feel like we don't have to maybe I feel like it's bigger than this, but this is an example that's coming to my mind, is, you know, maybe you live with a sibling and you keep taking their clothes. You have to keep borrowing their clothes or stealing their clothes, or like whatever it actually is, and you feel like you don't have to do this anymore, right? And you feel, or you know, maybe because your funds were, you know, tied up in something, or, you know, you haven't been having the greatest financial time, or whatever it actually is. It could be quite literally, you're not stealing anymore. That could be it, definitely. But I definitely, you know, could be like I mentioned, like the creative ideas. Could also be like, I mean, speaking of money, it could also be like taking money. Maybe not quite stealing, but maybe you're like continuously borrowing money. Maybe this could translate to like credit card debt. Like you keep putting things on your credit card and taking things, you know, and that kind of thing. So this is basically, it's under change. So this, I find that it's a good slot to have this card, because it's basically saying that you don't feel like you have to copy or borrow or plagiarize or take or steal anymore. You feel like you can do it on your own. And I think it was in the monthly we kind of had this feeling about, and that was very hard to interpret as well. about like being more independent and relying more on our own selves and being more resilient and more resourceful and all of those good things. So I definitely feel that we're feeling like we don't need to take it anymore. But again, take, steal, borrow, plagiarize, copy, like things, those kinds of verbs. So I like that because we're finally saying like, okay, I can do it on my own. Like another example maybe is like you're starting a business and you're copying somebody else, like you're emulating somebody else's business plan, and definitely right next to the truth be told where it's saying, I know it's in the challenge spot, but truth be told is always about being more authentic. So maybe this is kind of saying like, you have to have your own business plan. Their business plan doesn't necessarily work for you. You don't have to copy it. You don't have to be exactly like them. Like you don't have to be a carbon copy of something. Okay, because that's the other thing too. Like it's also like you don't have to be exactly the same as like another person to fit in, or you don't have to. You don't have to be exactly like someone or something. In general. Yeah, hopefully that makes sense. But yeah, so I like that. Like I said, it's in a good slot. It's again another shadow card, but it's also I see it as like a positive thing. Focus. We have Lotus Resurrection. Okay, so all right, Lotus Flower. Okay, so resurrection, regeneration. Okay, the two re's there. So this is saying focus on resurrecting yourself. Okay, there's also another re in the deck, renewal, and I think we've gotten it a couple weeks ago. Okay, so these are good cards to get, guys. These are really about blooming, right? No mud, no lotus, right? That's why I love that. Okay, so basically we are coming up. We are the lotus flower. We are the butterfly. And so it's saying focus on that. Focus on your resurrection. So this could also be like focus on your glow up. Focus on getting back to it, getting back to work, getting back in the game and dating, getting back to your business, getting back to something, becoming who you are again, or a new version of like a old version of you, right? Like the cocoon to the butterfly kind of situation. Or in this case, you've been in the mud for so long, it's time to go above water, right? Above the mud, and start getting back out there and resurrecting your life, bringing something back to life. Yourself, your appearance, your job, your relationships, your life force. Okay, so all of those things. So that's a really good card to get for there. I like that. Very exciting stuff. All right, what do we need to reflect on though? A leg up. Okay, our advantageous energy going on there. All right, so this is just asking us to reflect on our advantages. So our advantages could be like things that we do better than other people. I also could look at this as privilege. So reflecting on our privilege. Ooh, that's a good one. That's a good one. I know a lot of people don't want to look at that shadow, but this is definitely a good one. Look at our privileges and how they've affected us in life. How our skills have come in handy in maybe the last couple of years, or have helped us become more adaptable and flexible in our lives. So I like that there. So yeah, a couple of things can come out of there, but yeah, this is just thinking about all the ways that you've had advantages in life and how they've served you. So yeah, a lot of gratitude can come from that as well. Responsibilities. We have King, enlightened, benevolent leadership, benefiting those in your charge. Okay, so this is in the light. So this is basically saying like you're a good leader, you're a good king. You benefit the kingdom. You think about the kingdom as well. You're very wise. So it's your responsibilities are to be a good leader, to think about others that are in your kingdom, in your community. The people that you maybe have to watch over. So this could be like a parent to child dynamic going on, or if you have any kind of guardianship with somebody that you have to like look after, it's your responsibility to make sure that the ones that you look after are feeling heard, loved, respected, like things like that, and just being a good leader. So if you manage a team at work, or you're an entrepreneur and you have employees, it's saying it's your responsibility to be a good leader, to think about everybody involved, and show them kindness, respect, and empathy, I would say. Yeah, not too much more to say there. Money, finances, and career. We have artists upside down in the shadow, using talent as an excuse to mistreat others, posing as a starving artist to elicit pity. Okay, not the greatest one to have in money, finances, and career. So this can mean a few different things, and this is especially for people, maybe quite literally artists or creatives. We might feel like we are not making the money that we should. We might feel like we are drowning in this area. We're not getting hired. We're not, our art is not being sold. So it could feel like very frustrating. But this could really just also mean like that first thing that I said, using talent as an excuse to mistreat others. This could be about like you feel like you have so much talent and that you're so good at your job, which is like a good thing, a confidence thing for sure. But like you feel like there's this feeling of maybe being better than others, and like trying to, there's nothing wrong with being paid what you're worth and wanting to be respected in that way, but this is beyond that. This is more about like being a little extra diva-ish, I will say, or demanding, or like, this is like without humility, essentially. Yeah, so there could be like some butting heads of egos, I would say, in the workplace this week for sure, in that way. Feeling like another way to put this is like feeling like you're like above something at work, where you're like, my talent and my skills, are not, are way above this, or this is above my pay grade or something like that, where, trust me, I totally understand like declining things that, I wouldn't say like benefit you, but like declining things that like if you want to be paid your worth, or that kind of thing. Like this is not what this is talking about. This is like talking about like something happens at work and it's like somebody else's job, and you're just like, and it will help the entire team, coming off of the King card. Oh, I just realized I just pulled 2 in a row for the archetype deck, but that's okay. I go with things intuitively. Anyway, so the archetype card of the King is basically saying like, you do things for the team, you do things for the community, you do things to make sure everybody thrives and everybody can get ahead and everybody's happy, and you do it for the common goal, the shared interest of the group, right? And so this is kind of what that's saying too. It's like if something goes wrong and you say, oh, that's not my job, that's the kind of attitude that I feel here, is like you have to kind of like take one for the team and think about the team, not just yourself, but again, if you work for yourself, if you're a freelancer or solo or whatever it actually is, have your own solopreneur thing going on, it could be like you feel very frustrated that you're not selling things, or things aren't you feel like you're very talented and people are not paying attention to that, and that kind of thing. So yeah, it just feels like it's hard to make money. I know this is not the best card to get for here, but it's hard to make money. It's hard to not let your ego get in the way, because that you're very talented, but it is happening. And so just watch out for that, basically. So not the greatest energy to get for this slot here, but like I mentioned earlier, I only read what, comes through. No sugarcoating over here. Surprises, we have Jasmine, Sensuality. Oh! Okay. Guys, can you put 2 and 2 together, or do I have to explain this? Sensuality. Getting in touch with your sensual side is a surprise. Okay? And usually, surprise means, it comes as a surprise because it's unexpected or it hasn't happened in a long time, or is something that you're not planning, like something like that. So definitely feels like you can get some sexy time that maybe is not something that you planned or were expecting. Yeah, guys, are you gonna make me talk about it more? Because I think you get it, okay? So yeah, I like it. I find it a positive thing, okay? So that's pretty cool. All right, friends, what do we got? We've got fork in the road. Okay, so you might be coming to crossroads in your friend group, in your community, in your family, where you have to pick a lane. You have to pick path A or path B. You're in a fork in the road. Like, you can either do one thing or you can either do another. This might be like you can either forgive the person or you can end the friendship. It feels like it could be major in that way. Maybe some of you guys will be a little bit on the minor side, but it just feels like you have to, point A or point B. It's like you have to kind of like pick something, pick a lane. I feel like it's neutral. It's just, it quite literally feels like, is this person going down the path with you? Are you going to change things or keep things the same? So there's some stuff going on in our friendships and our community. Romantic connection. We have pioneer in the shadow. Compulsive need to keep moving on. Okay. So. In romantic connection, not so great. Okay. So basically it's saying like we keep on keeping on. We want that, we kind of chase that feeling of newness. We chase that feeling of like innovation, of being the first at something. So we continue to move on and we don't necessarily work on something. So as you can see how that could be a little bit controversial here in romantic connection is like, this could mean like you're just moving on too quickly and you're not necessarily working at the relationship. Now, disclaimer, you guys know I'm not talking about abusive relationships, okay? And also, as I always say, disclaimer, use your intuition, use your discernment, okay? But it definitely does feel like we might be like moving on too quickly or trying to not work on things or trying to, this is kind of like big in the community, in the relationship world, is like trying to chase that high of newness, of like that new relationship energy. So my couples that have been together for a really long time, you might be feeling like very stale this week or feeling like there's nothing new going on in your relationships. And you might just be feeling like a little bit like, are we ever going to have like any new firsts in our relationships? Like that's like the kind of energy here that's kind of going on. So it might be a little rough for couples that have been together for a long time, or, very, or couples that have a lot of longevity under their belts, but you can definitely work through it for sure. But, keep that in mind that, new isn't always better. You can always find new things within your relationship too, as well. But yeah, some things are, it kind of gives me the vibe of like the grass is always, I forget the card that has that energy, but like sometimes we think like the grass is always greener and we just want to keep moving on to chase that relationship high, that new relationship high, like, being in love, like that dopamine hit almost. And we might be trying to do that in our romantic relationships this weekend. It might not yield the results that we want. Let's just put it that way. Important. What's important? So much is important. Imagination. Okay, so it's important to use your imagination. I mean, I don't know what else to say here, except, use your imagination, be creative. And yeah, that's it. I don't have too much more to add. Health and wellness is the one I'm always excited about. Poised. Okay, so this is another, honestly, similar energy to the regeneration resurrection. Okay, where it's kind of like I feel like jumping off the cliff. I'm ready to go. And so it's under health and wellness, so I love that. I mean, it can mean all types of things. Maybe you're just ready for something new. Maybe you're ready for a new therapist if you're on a mental health journey. Maybe you are ready for a new workout routine if you're on a weight loss journey with your physical health or something. So there could be this renewal, or just like you're ready to, like you have more energy, I will say, like more energy to take something else on, to take something else that's new on, that kind of energy, saying like, okay, I'm ready to do it, you know, let's go. I like that there. Overall outcome, we have beggar, confronts empowerment at the level of physical survival, awakens the spiritual authority of humility, compassion, and self-esteem. Okay, we've gotten this like here and there a few times. Sometimes it's in the shadow, sometimes it's in the light. But this to me feels more like, so it's in the light, so basically it's saying that how do I say this? We are great, like honestly, like gratitude, like we honor the gratitude that is coming up about the things that we have, the things that have happened to us. Like it just feels, and because it's beggar, like maybe the things that were given to us, right? So I just feel like a lot of gratitude, and I feel, you know, we don't always see gratitude all the time in these readings, you know, week by week, month by month. But I definitely feel like towards the end of the week, going into the weekend, obviously, that would be the end of the week, when I do these